Wow, after 3 months of waiting. The highest court of the US has just slammed the brakes on Trump's global tariff terror. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled that Trump never had the authority to impose sweeping global tariffs in the first place. Not under emergency powers, not by executive order, not at all. And this decision doesn't just hit tariffs. It limits the presidential power itself. Today we're breaking this into 3 parts. First, the power grab. How emergency powers were stretched beyond recognition. Second, the economic shockwave. Refunds, markets, and global fallout. And third, what this means for Canada and Europe, and why Carney's patience may have paid off. Because this ruling changes the game. For Washington, for Ottawa, and for every country that was told to fall in line or face Trump's tariff terror. Let's start with the core issue, power. Trump used the Economic Emergency Power Act as a crowbar, a law designed for true national crisis, for war, severe threats, or economic collapse. Instead, it became a shortcut. Trump declared national emergencies out of thin air, on allies, on competitors, on countries that simply annoyed him. Even furniture. The court wasn't buying it. In a 6-3 decision, the justice ruled that tariffs are not presidential tools. They belong to Congress. Period. The ruling makes something very clear. Emergency powers are not a blanket check. This decision directly blocks Trump's long-standing strategy of ruling through executive authority, bypassing lawmakers, ignore debates, and daring the court to stop him. Well, the court just did. And this matters far beyond trade, because once the court draws this line, other decisions come under scrutiny. Immigration, sanctions, regulatory actions. If emergency powers were abused here, lawyers will ask, where else? This ruling restores a basic constitutional truth. The president executes the law. Now let's talk money. And a lot of it. Over 175 billion in tariffs Trump collected under those rules. And here's the part Trump never liked to admit. Most tariffs are not paid by foreign countries. They are paid by importers, by businesses, and ultimately by consumers. That means American households carried most of the burden. Now more than 1,000 companies are waiting in line, waiting for refunds. This will not be quick and simple, and almost certainly end up in more court battles. But the financial signs were immediate. Market jumped and investors relaxed. Could this restore predictability? Trade works best when rules are boring, stable, and hard to change on a whim. The court also wiped out reciprocal tariffs that hit dozens of countries like Canada, Mexico, China, and much of the EU. However, and this is important, not all tariffs are gone. Sector-specific measures remain, like steel, aluminum, pharmaceuticals. Those were imposed under different laws, and they are harder but not impossible to challenge. Trump knows this, which is why he already threatens alternatives. He said it plainly, he will find another way. And in classic Trump's fashion, he added this threat, and I quote, "Foreign countries laughing now, but they won't laugh for long. That I can assure you." That tells us everything. His desire for tariff terror hasn't disappeared. Now let's bring this home, to Canadian and European perspective. For Canada, this ruling is huge. It removes a major layer of uncertainty. No more waking up to surprise tariff announcements on social media. No more emergency declaration used as leverage. Canadian exports just became safer overnight. Auto parts, agriculture, manufacturing. And according to analyst Diamond Eisinger, Canada is in a better position than most global partners. Why? Because Ottawa didn't panic. Carney refused to sign a bad deal, refused to lock itself into tariff concessions under pressure. And now that patience looks smart, As I said it right here on Europe Curious many times before, Carney's administration is right not to sign up for bad deals just to satisfy critics and the opposition, but to be strategic about it instead. Mark Carney's approach was simple. Don't negotiate with a gun to your head, especially when the gun might be illegal. Those rulings prove that strategy was right. For Europe, the implications are just as serious. Just as Canada, EU nations have already accelerated trade diversification. Deals with Asia, Latin America, Africa, and of course, Canada. Just yesterday, I posted an important video about this very subject and how Mark Carney is the architect of a massive trade bloc spanning 40 countries, combining a massive consumer mass. And most importantly, the US is not involved. The link to this video is right here and in the description of the video. But back to SCOTUS. Their decision reigned in presidential power. Restores congressional authority. Theoretically, that could mean that US trade policies has become more predictable again. But let's not be naive. Trump and his allies are already scouting alternative legal routes. But those are narrower, slower and easier to challenge. However, they still exist. But this ruling removes leverage from Trump's toolbox. And that reshapes every negotiation going forward. So let's be clear, this wasn't about tariffs. It was about power, about limits, and about whether one man can bend global trade to his will. Today, the answer was no. For Canada as well as the EU, this means breathing room. For the global economy, it's a reminder that an US president is not almighty. However, this story isn't over. Trump is already hinting at the next move, and the pressure will return, just in different forms. So please let me know in the comments below what you think about all this. How do you see SCOTUS rulings? Will it change us anything? So stay sharp, stay informed and stay curious. If you want clear-eyed analysis from a Canadian and European perspective without the noise, then please like and subscribe to the channel. And share this video with someone who still thinks tariffs are paid by foreign governments, because the courts just proved otherwise. Thanks for watching. I'm Wilfried Lemkuller with Europe Curious. See you in the next one.